I am Avery or Hazel or Kylie. You can just pick one. I don't care.
Hello, and I am Spider-Man.
No, you're not.
No, I'm Lily.
Yeah. Welcome to the From the Closet podcast. Today we are covering Spider-Man 3. Uh, I'm going to. This is a yet another wheel movie, so I'm going to spin the wheel to determine what wheel movie we're doing next. And the wheel landed on The Matrix Revolutions.
The fuck?
Yeah.
It's funny because we
So,
were just talking about that movie.
yeah, we were. So, you can join us tomorrow for Amphibia Season 3, which coincidentally is also the next thing we're recording. Um, you can join
Huh.
us next week for The Matrix Revolutions and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3, which I haven't seen half of. So, we're finally going to start getting to more Marvel television stuff that I haven't seen, which is
I
fun.
just haven't seen any of it.
Well, you've seen seasons 1 and 2.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen the stuff we haven't covered.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look and see if Matrix 4 is on HBO Max or not.
I mean, I can take a look if you want to,
We'll
like, just
look.
during the intro bit.
We'll look after the podcast is over. Because the thing about this is it's going to determine if Matrix 4 goes on the wheel or if you have to replace the Matrix series on the wheel.
It's called The Matrix, re,
Resurrections.
Resurrections. Yeah, it seems like it's also on HBO Max.
Okay, cool. So we can definitely replace it. Um, this podcast episode will contain spoilers for Spider-Man 3. If you would like to avoid spoilers, you will find a link below to Just Watch, which itself will have links to every place that you can rent, purchase, or stream this movie. For us here in the US, the movie is available on Hulu. Our link is to the US version of the site. However, if you use the Just Watch app, it will automatically redirect you to your country's page. If you use the website, you can change the country from the website page. Also in the description is a link to our Patreon where you can vote on future episodes of this show, as well as get access to episodes of this show early, and early access to episodes of our sister show, Off the Shelf, which is about books. That podcast is exclusive to YouTube and Patreon.
Fuck?
What?
Sorry, continue.
Okay. Also in the description below, there's going to be a link to Anchor.fm, which itself will have links to every platform that this podcast is on, as well as links to our Instagram and Twitter, where you can be notified when we release a new episode. But with all
Speaking
that
about our
being,
Instagram, oh my god, it's growing again.
did it ever stop?
I think it stagnated at around 50, and then it started again.
Oh, cool. But anyway, with all that being said, please get out of here if you would like to avoid spoilers, because we're going to start talking about the movie now. All right. So before we dig into this, I just want to say I can already see the critic ratings.
I
They're
can't.
not good. They are not good.
So, there's a lot of stuff we can talk about this movie. And it's a hard thing to find out what we want to start talking about first. But I have something I want to start talking about first, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
There's too many villains in this movie. And
Yeah.
well, granted, one of them does turn to be, the hero. He still is a villain in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. I think what this movie suffers from is trying to tell too many stories at once. It's not even just that there's too many villains. There's too many stories going on because we have this plot with Sandman, who's trying to make amends with his family so he can see his daughter again. Well, at first he's not even Sandman, but
Mhm.
then he becomes Sandman, and that causes a whole lot of stuff. And then, there's also an element of this that he accidentally killed Peter Parker's uncle. And I had told you when we did our Spider-Man 1 episode that there was more to the story of how he died.
You did, actually. I
Yeah.
have a question. Could it that. So, from what we know now, could that have actually worked in Spider Man 1?
I
Or
mean,
does that just make no sense?
I don't see any reason why it couldn't work.
Hmm.
Because we don't actually see the scene in the movie where he gets shot. So,
Okay. Um, I was just wondering because, a lot of times in movies, they try to add more lore, but they don't. There's some inconsistencies with the previous movies.
yeah. So there's this whole Sandman plot going on. Then we also have the introduction of the Venom symbiote and what that brings to the table. So, like, it bonds with Peter, and then Peter uses the symbiote's weakness to particularly loud sounds to separate it from himself. But then it also bonds to Eddie Brock. And honestly, probably not that good of a take on Venom, but
Who's Eddie?
Eddie Brock was the reporter guy who faked the picture
Oh,
of Spider-Man.
right.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. Sorry, that whole thing was just really weird.
yeah. Venom in general, like this whole thing was weird, and they didn't really do a good job at like signaling to the audience that the symbiote is weak to loud sounds. Um, so when Peter defeats the Venom symbiote at the end of the movie with like loud noises, you're confused as to why it's working, unless you've
No,
read the comic books.
I actually wasn't confused at all.
I've seen a lot of people who are confused by that.
I mean, it kind of
Um,
makes sense, as, especially when it has a flashback to the loud bell, um, and how that, you know, repelled. Though I will admit, there was like a shred of doubt, like, but what if it's the metal? Maybe it's the weakness is the metal. In the ending scene, it kind of looked like that, but when Peter striked it, and then I knew for certain, yeah, it's absolutely the sound.
yeah, but also, so we have the Sandman story going on, we have the Venom story going on, then we also have this story with the Hobgoblin and how Harry hates Peter for supposedly killing his father, which we know from seeing Spider-Man 1 that he didn't actually do that, but Harry doesn't know that.
He'll learn that later.
Yeah. So that story's going on. And then we also have this story of like Peter and MJ's relationship failing because Peter is letting fame get to his head and shit. And this is what I really don't like about the movie. I do not like the direction they go in with Peter Parker's character in this movie at all. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's what takes me out of this movie, and it's not Tobey Maguire's fault at all because he acts it really well, but it's just I
I
don't
mean,
like
it's
it.
rarely ever the actor's fault. They just get scripts. Hell, Tobey Maguire absolutely killed his performance.
Yeah, I feel like he does better performing at this, like at this particularly bad writing for Peter Parker than he does at performing for normal Peter Parker. Um,
That's interesting.
yeah, I mean, personally, Tom Holland is my favorite Peter Parker. Um, I mean, we've seen a bit of him in Civil War. Just so far on this podcast, we are not too far away from covering Spider Man Homecoming, so we'll get to see a lot more of him there.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's gonna be fun. But yeah, the
So
one
as
thing.
um, sorry, what?
So like the thing that kind of also doesn't sit right with me in this movie, like we talked about, there's just too many things going on. It feels like Iron Man 2 again. Although this movie came out
Honestly,
before
so
Iron Man 2.
heh, um, so as far as I'm concerned, there is two like big plots in this movie, and all the other ones just sit into one or the other because that's just what it is. It's just fuel for two big plots. One is that Peter and MJ, and in fact, the relationship between Peter, MJ, and the third one.
The third one?
Yeah, you know,
Do you
their love triangle, whatever.
do you mean Harry?
Yes. And then
Yeah.
you have the Peter's search for revenge and everything that collides with that, which is Sandman's story.
Hmm.
I guess you can also put the reporter, but let's be honest, he's just a little thread in fucking space.
Yeah, like Eddie Brock, Venom.
Yeah, and
I
Venom
don't know.
was also in like fueling his revenge, his rage.
Yeah, like they set up that the symbiote, it amplifies what is already inside, which is just the same fucking thing as the super soldier serum, but whatever.
Yeah, but this time, well, the super soldier serum is not a virus.
I mean, neither is this. It's a symbiote.
I mean, what the fuck's a symbiote? And also, I mean, it requires fuels on the host. I guess it doesn't reproduce like a virus, but it does. It's a harmful relationship to the host.
What is important to recognize, though, about this movie, it's something important that you need to remember going forward, and I'm
Hmm.
telling you this so that you remember, is that in this universe, the Venom symbiote and Eddie Brock know that Peter Parker is Spider Man. This is actually going to be important later
Wait, why?
because
This. Oh, actually, no. I need to know for what. Into the Spider Verse. Like what movie does this get brought back up in, or is it the
it,
new
it,
Spider-Man 4 that are
it,
making?
it's questionable whether or not that's even being made. Um, I
Okay.
mean, that a lot of that is just rumors, but so just know that this is coming back. A couple of other times actually.
Because we're not going to be spending much time in this universe at all. Because after this, we're going to the next universe.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, with this universe, we're done unless they actually make Spider-Man 4.
But then, of course, Tom Holland gets pulled into the Marvel universe.
I mean, Tom Holland's already in the Marvel universe.
Well, I mean, the central Marvel timeline.
Are you talking about Tobey Maguire?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
So, yeah, you said
I
Tom
said the wrong
Holland.
one. Whoops. Yeah, Tommy Maguire gets pulled into the Marvel universe.
Yeah, into 616. I fucking hate that they called it 616, but whatever. It's not 616. Uh, but anyway, like the thing is, like with this movie, I just feel like they tried to do too much and it didn't work. And the whole changing Peter's character just a lot. And he does, like, some of it, it's like you can get away with this because it's the symbiote, but then there's other stuff that he does without the symbiote even being involved.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, for one, like, he kisses Gwen Stacy, and that he didn't have the symbiote bonded with him during that. That was all him.
Wait, when Stacy. Hold up. That's the other Spider-Man or Spider-Woman, I guess.
Yeah, that she's involved later. Uh, you also heard mentions of a professor named Kurt Connors. Um, well, let's
Hmm.
just say alternate versions of him are going to be important. Um,
Oh, goody.
yeah, so like they try teasing a lot of things. It's very clear that Spider-Man 3 is not where this series was supposed to end. It just happened to be. They actually were
Yeah.
working on a Spider-Man 4 at one point, but it got canceled. It's the question
Wonder
is now
why.
the question is now whether or not it's going to be revived after the events of No Way Home, but we haven't really
Hmm.
heard anything.
No, we haven't. You brought it up. I just want to go the extra mile to really emphasize they changed Peter's character a lot. And a part of that kind of I liked the rage he had. The point to where he was angry that they haven't caught his father's killer yet, his uncle's killer.
Uncle, yeah.
Um, but then they also changed him to be a terrible person, someone that loves power and does things without a second thought.
Yeah, see, to me, they just kind of made him unlikable, and that's what I
Absolutely.
didn't. Yeah, like that's what I didn't enjoy about it. I don't like watching this movie where the main character is this unlikable. Like, yes, I love Scott Pilgrim, but I don't think Scott Pilgrim's unlikable. He's an asshole, yes, but they they figure out a way to write his character in a way that makes you root for him. They don't do that here.
I don't think there was any way to make this story, but also have you root for Spider Man.
Yeah, it's just it's a yikes from me in all regards. Something I
The,
do
the,
like is when he exposes Eddie Brock for the fake photo, because like that's absolutely based. When it comes to fake journalism, it absolutely deserves to be called out and dealt with harshly. Absolutely.
but something I love about this movie, there's not a lot, but God, I love the lengths he was willing to go in that state of rage when dealing with the Sandman.
And it's funny. I find myself rooting for Sandman in a lot of these scenes because like he was a victim of circumstance.
I mean, I guess he didn't. Spider-Man didn't really know about that. Hell, the audience didn't
Yeah,
really know about that until much later.
I mean, it's fairly obvious that like his daughter was dying. They make some hints, like they hint at it early on in the movie before they even actually directly come right out and tell you. Um,
Well, I mean, in the fake flashback, um, he killed his uncle without really even having to. But of course, as we know, that didn't actually happen. That was just Peter thinking is what happened.
Yeah. And I don't know. To me, the way I think of it, like, I just assumed that that's naturally what Peter was thinking happened.
I mean, at the very least, I didn't think it was far off. Just by looking at him, and I absolutely did not think he accidentally fired.
Yeah. And I mean, to me, it seems like he accidentally fired because he was bumped into
The
by his partner.
ruthlessness, definitely something that this
I
actor
can't,
can
you can't really
really
tell
pull
whether
out
or
well.
not his partner actually bumped into him or not. But from the angles everything is shot, it certainly seems likely that his partner bumped his arm and that caused the reflex to pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And it's certainly awful. And another important thing to think about is like, um, so Sandman, also known as Flint Marko, he knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, but he's also not really a villain. At the end of this movie, he kind of just leaves peaceably at the end,
There's
and
only really
then
one villain at the end of this movie.
yeah, and he
Both the other
dies.
ones.
So
Does he die?
yeah, Venom died.
Oh no, right. Sorry, I was talking about Sandman.
No, see, that's the thing. I'm saying at the end of this movie, he's not a
Yeah.
villain.
I I just thought you were talking about Sandman and say that he died or something.
No, okay. So Sandman leaves peaceably. He's no longer a villain, but importantly, he's also not cured.
That
He
is true.
is, yeah.
You can make
So
people think that he's himself, but he can never enter a pool again.
yeah. There's also this scene where like Peter just assumes he's dead, and I'm like, why are you assuming he's dead? He did not like. You saw no body. You just saw him getting slurped through a grate.
Mm, I mean, rage blinds you.
Yeah. And also, for some reason, I can't figure out why not MJ, Aunt May, I can't figure out why she didn't know Peter was Spider Man because I felt like she found that out at the end of the second movie.
No, I don't believe so. No. I have to watch the end of the second movie again, but I absolutely believe that Aunt May did not know.
I mean, I felt like she did because there were a lot of scenes where, like, um, she talks about how when Peter would disappear on her when, like, something would happen, like particularly at the bank with Doc Ock, like,
Mhm.
and then Spider-Man would show up. Like, I feel like I remember there being a scene where she talks about piecing it together. Um, I
Hmm.
could be wrong, but I don't know. Just to me, I felt like that was something I remembered. Also, the weird thing to me, okay, so it's completely unrelated to the movie itself, but when I went to watch this movie on Hulu, I noticed that they also have Smallville, and that's a DC show.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, Hulu fucking has both Marvel and DC content on their platform.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's weird.
What other Marvel content does Hulu even have?
Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 1, and they might have the Amazing Spider-Man movies as well.
Okay, what
And
content that was actually made by like the company known as Marvel?
probably nothing, because I mean, I know they also have some Fox content.
Hmm.
Um, Actually, they might have. uh, either Runaways or Cloak and Dagger. Um,
Ooh.
okay, no,
I don't know.
Runaways is Disney Plus, so I'm gonna look at Cloak and Dagger.
I mean, there has
Uh,
been some stuff that like Disney Plus and Hulu both have.
yeah, but not as much lately. Uh,
Hmm.
okay, so apparently Cloak and Dagger does not want to show me streaming services on fucking Google, so I'm just gonna check Just Watch because you know they do
It's
it.
on nothing. Surprise.
That would be funny and unfortunate because we're
Very
supposed to cover
unfortunate.
that show eventually.
Well, better hope you
It's
get
on
the
Hulu.
DVD. Yeah.
It is on Hulu.
Wow, that would have been very unfortunate if it wasn't for a few, maybe a month ago.
Hmm. I mean, to be fair, Cloak and Dagger, us covering that show is like years away, I think.
Well, let's hope we both keep it. Let's hope we both keep Hulu.
I mean, even if we don't, I feel like by then we will have the money to be able to subscribe to Hulu.
Well, hopefully. I mean,
Yeah.
either that or I'm dead. So let's hope that
Yeah, let's hope
I
that one
do get money.
happens. But anyway, yeah, I just found it funny that Hulu has both Marvel and DC content, and the fact that like Aunt May made a reference to Superman in one of the other two movies. I can't remember
Really?
which one it was. Yeah, I mean we talked about it.
Yeah, but you know how bad my memory is.
Yeah, it was a. It's just something funny I wanted to point out. Yeah, and like I do know how bad your memory is. You probably don't remember a fucking thing about Sinbad.
Okay, to be fair though, that was by choice.
Yeah, sure.
I remember, I think there was a sponge involved. But I
No,
mean, they're basically the same movie.
but yeah. Anyway, I think I don't know. I genuinely don't know how to feel about this movie because like the stuff with Sandman, that stuff is pretty good. It's just the whole storyline of Peter becoming egotistical and like letting all the power and fame go to his head. It doesn't sit right with me. But then like you also have J. Jonah Jameson being fucking hilarious. Like that
He
scene
nails
that
every.
that the very first scene where he shows up in the movie and we have like that other character who would constantly buzz into his office and scare the
Oh
fucking
my
shit out
god,
of
I
him.
love that.
Yeah, like that's just fucking great.
I love the little kid. He bought a little kid camera for $100, and the kid scanned him. Was like, the film will cost extra.
Yeah, fucking love that. Great. Get wrecked, Jameson.
But
But
throughout this entire trilogy, J. Jonah Jameson has to be my favorite character.
yeah, and I mean, I don't know if J.K. Simmons plays J. Jonah Jameson in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I've never seen them at all,
Hmm.
so that's going to be an interesting experience for me. And for those of you listening, if you're wondering, yes, the Amazing Spider-Man is replacing Spider-Man 3 on the movie wheel. It's just a question of when it lands on it.
Could be never. Yay!
I mean, it
Well,
could be never, but I
sadly,
mean,
we
if that,
actually do have to watch it.
yeah, like it could be never, but if that happens, then literally our MCU progress just gets on an abrupt pause while we go and watch The Amazing Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Venom, and Venom Let There Be Carnage.
To be fair, do we actually have to do Venom and Venom Let There Be Carnage?
We don't, but it would be better if we did.
So basically, that's just optional content. Optional. Though for the required stuff, I mean, I'm actually really surprised. We've been two Spider-Mans in probably less than a few months.
Yeah, I'm actually very curious. When was our Spider-Man 2 episode released? I'm going to check the schedule for that.
Hmm.
Because it for sure is on the schedule.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I mean, that only
because
goes
it,
to September of last year.
yeah, okay. So, it actually hasn't released yet at the time we're recording this.
Shit, damn. Okay. That's the reason I was like, when you said that, I was like, why do I feel like I haven't released it yet? It's because I haven't.
Oh, another thing I want to point out about this movie. So the other two Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, they take place in the year that they came out. So Spider-Man 1, it
Okay.
takes place in 2002 because it came out in 2002. And then Spider-Man 2 came out in 2004 and takes place in 2004. That is not the case for this movie. This movie came out in 2007, but it takes place in 2005.
Okay.
It's a
Interesting.
minor thing. It's a minor thing, but I want to point it out for like timeline sake. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so this movie doesn't end the best for Peter and MJ's relationship. I mean, it says like it sends the message that they're clearly going to work on it, and No Way Home drives that home even further when we
I
eventually
mean,
get to
No Way
that.
Home just fucking confirms it.
Yeah. Um, But like obviously it would take work after the kind of crap that Peter did in this movie. I mean, he kisses another girl when he knows MJ is literally watching. Um,
I mean, didn't MJ just find out because of like the newspaper or something?
no, she was there. She saw it happen, and
Yeah,
he
that's what I
knew
thought.
that
Then
she would.
I
Right?
knew
She
all
just
of
got.
that.
She saw it in the newspaper and just got annoyed.
I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah. Um, But like Peter knew MJ was in the crowd. He knew she would see that. And then later, he literally takes a girl on a date to the jazz club where she works as a singer,
And
specifically
then
to make her
upstages her.
jealous.
And then completely
Yeah.
upstages her.
Yeah. Then he completely upstages her, gets in a fight with the staff. Uh, she tries to pull him off of the staff, and he whirls back and hits her. Granted, like to his credit, he doesn't know it's her, but still, it's not good. Um,
And you had mentioned that um, Peter does this even while knowing that she's in the crowd. I just want to just briefly mention something you absolutely already know. That doesn't matter if she was in the crowd or not. He so just should never have done that.
yeah, he never should have done it. It's just the fact that he knows she's in the crowd and knows she's going to be watching that makes it worse.
Yeah.
It's already bad. This just makes it
Um.
worse.
Yeah. Just doing it was a cut. The fact that he knows that she's watching, that's a lemon. Just squeezing right on that.
Yeah, it's a you know it and at least with the stuff that happens in the jazz club, you can reasonably say that maybe he wouldn't have done that stuff without the symbiote. Sorry, I know people get very particular about mispronouncing that. Um,
I mean, you could just say Venom.
yeah, I mean, you could say that was Venom, and like he wouldn't have done that stuff without Venom, but with the kiss, can't say that because they weren't bonded at that time. Um,
Yeah,
so,
don't go to sleep angry. Venom will just come out and get you.
uh,
This is
but
I don't know how to even describe that. I really
but
don't.
yeah, I can say for me, like I've never been physically abused like that. I've never had a partner who hit me, even once.
I just never
I'd
had a
like
partner.
Yeah, I'd like to say that if it happened once, it would be something I could move past. But if it happened twice, I'd be done. But I don't know. I don't know how
Yeah.
I'd handle that situation because I've never been in it. At the same time, I've been on the other side of it.
Hmm.
Not necessarily that I actually hit my partner, but I did grab their wrist a little too hard and it did leave a bruise. And it
Jesus, how strong are you?
I'm not that strong. But yeah, it sucked. It was awful. I felt horrible about myself, and my partner at the time forgave me, but at the same time, that also wasn't a good relationship just in general. It
Hmm.
was toxic both ways. Um, and we were in high school, so
Yeah,
you
it
know,
probably wasn't gonna last to begin with.
yeah. I mean, thankfully, I'm out of that situation now. I think the two of us, we absolutely were not right for each other. Period. And I think the thing about this partner is that I don't even want to be friends with her because I don't think she's like I don't think we can have a healthy relationship even as friends. Um,
Damn, that sucks.
yeah,
Um, but I guess do we? I don't think we have more to talk about this movie.
yeah,
Um, they ruined his character. Venom appears for reasons
yeah.
that happened.
And importantly, Venom and the Sandman know Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and if fucking every fucking villain in this series knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man, but the only one that doesn't matter is Hobgoblin. He does not matter.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, unless you consider J. Jonah Jameson a villain, because
Eh,
he
yeah,
doesn't know.
I mean, it's hard to say if he's a villain or not. Comedic villain, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate him as like comic relief. He's really good at it. And like even after we get through all the Spider-Man movies, we're still not going to be done with J.K. Simmons. I mean, of course, we've
Yes.
already seen him in Megamind, but like, I mean, J.K. Simmons also is a pretty major character in The Legend of Korra, so we're
Hmm.
gonna get to that eventually.
Um,
But
so I think I should mention a few things about this. That that's just been kept out of my head. One, we have another villain that got ruined by the progression of science. Technically, he just fell into the progression of science instead of causing it, but that still happened. Two,
I'm
we have a villain that also conveniently has the hero's powers.
I wouldn't even say that Venom has the hero's powers. Some powers are similar, but like they're not at all the same. Like,
Venom
yes,
is
Eddie makes a
replicating the hero's powers. I'll say
like.
that.
I know Eddie does make a joke about spider sense, but he doesn't actually have it. So that's an important thing to take note of.
Okay, but I mean, I was mainly focusing on the webs,
Yeah.
which what that
So
those are. I don't actually. I don't want to know what those are. In fact, it would actually make a lot more sense if the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man was like the other Spider-Mans and just artificially made his webs. So
Yeah,
this one scene actually just made like, wait a minute, only Spider-Man in this universe can actually use those web slingers, or only just sling webs, I guess. I don't know
yeah.
why.
So yeah, I like I've said, I don't particularly like this movie, and that'll be reflected in my rating of it. So
Hmm.
let's just go ahead and get into the critic
Ooh,
ratings.
oh, this is gonna be spicy.
Okay, so IMDb gives this movie a 6.3 out of 10. Rotten
Eh,
Tomatoes gives it 63%. It's interesting that they have it at the exact same. Um,
yeah,
Metacritic, sorry, something caught in my throat. Metacritic has it at 59%, and
yay.
83% of Google users like the movie.
Yeah, that's abnormally high.
So I'll
Abnormally.
start with this one.
Hmm.
So I've been going back and forth. At a lot of points in this movie, I was considering like high fours, and then at other points, I'm like, okay, yeah, actually, this part of the movie is pretty good. Maybe the movie deserves a five. Um, I I don't know. I'd actually thinking about it. I'd rather watch this movie than The Last Unicorn. So I guess 5.1.
Wow. You actually gave, like, it's the opposite of what I gave another movie. Why are we basing everything off the last unicorn?
Because we
I
both
don't care.
rated that 5.0. Why else would we be basing everything off of it? It was the perfect middle of the road for both of us.
Damn. Honestly, I can see potential in this movie. Sadly, that's the only good thing I can see. So I want to give it a bit higher than that, but not too much. So 5.5.
All right. And I'll just say this, like when it comes to Sony produced Spider-Man movies, with the exception of the ones that are actually co-produced with Marvel, those being the ones with Tom Holland, um, the rest just going forward are not good, except for Into the Spider-Verse. But that's animation. That's Sony
Yeah.
Pictures Animation. It's
I
a
mean, are
different
we talking
studio
about like
entirely.
bad movies or just mid? Like
From
Spider
what
Man
I have heard, the Amazing Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man 2 are both bad. Um,
Hmm.
Venom is an okay movie if you don't care about Venom's comic book origins. Uh, for the
Cool.
comic fans, it's like they completely bastardized his character. Um,
Oh, that's interesting.
and then, like, there's a sequel to that movie, which the comic fans don't particularly like too much. I don't know about that one because, like, I haven't watched it. And then, well, then there's Morbius.
We actually have to watch Morbius.
Yeah, we do.
No, we don't have to watch Morbius for Into the Spider. No, No Way Home, right?
No, actually, Morbius is after No Way Home. Well, technically, it doesn't take place after No Way Home, but you're supposed to watch it after No Way Home.
Oh, great. Wait, what?
Yeah. It takes place before No Way Home, but it came out after No Way Home and features some spoiler stuff for No Way Home, apparently. So,
Wait, I thought that was all in the, you know, they all featured that in the trailers, and Morbius actually had nothing to do with, it was just its own thing, and that's why everyone got mad at it.
nah, there's a particular post credit scene that very much ties into No Way Home heavily.
Oh, okay. Well,
Uh, yeah, but anyway, uh, you can join us tomorrow for Amphibia season 3, and next week for The Matrix Revolutions and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3. But until then, I've been Avery, that's been Lily, and we will be seeing you.